conversation,
I did
and
too.
it's still flu season.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. There's a reason why your body craves those warm liquids.
You know what? We actually kind of, I cut your story short, and I apologize to you for that. We were talking about what happened to you over this week, and you got too stiff and achy and sore, and I went off on a spleen tangent, and we never came back.
But I liked that spleen tangent very much. Well, then it turned into a cold.
Right.
Yeah.
So the cold was nastiness.
The cold was nastiness. I'm still coughing in the morning, but like I feel okay now. It'll go away the rest of the way.
I feel like this was a lot of pin-up junk you just had to get rid of.
Well, and you know, the main thing I want to get across today is if you are sick, stay home.
Yes.
Because I was just getting better and I was exposed to a little girl with a cold and I got it.
Mm-hmm. Because your immune system was already sucked up trying to deal with the flu. And again, it was just like the liver. It's like, geez, what am I supposed to do here? I only got 2 hands, man.
And especially if you're around, you know, I think if I would have been more sickly than I was to begin with, not as healthy as I am to begin with, that I would have ended up in the hospital. I really do.
Right.
And I don't want to go there.
No. I don't think Steve would have let you get to that point anyway.
He wants to take me all the time.
He would have dragged you kicking and screaming or otherwise. Yeah. So.
The one time that I finally, you need to go to the doctor, and I kept telling him, no, it's just a virus. And I went, and the doctor said, well, it's just a virus.
There's
so
nothing
it's
we
just going to
can
happen.
do.
And I looked at him. I gave him those little squinty eyes, you know, those, see, I told you.
The face. Did you?
So now he doesn't say, I had to do it that one time. So now he says, do you need to go to the doctor? And I'll say, no, I'll be fine. And then he leaves me alone.
So for me, my little story about that was funny. It'd probably been 10, 15 years I hadn't been to a medical doctor. When I came out of school, I had gone to a medical doctor when I was still in school. And he was probably the worst medical doctor I've ever known in my life. And because of that, I kind of just thought he was full of crap, and I just decided I didn't need them anymore, which is not a great thing to decide. But at 25, you're like, you know, screw him. He's stupid. I'm not going to him. I'm not going to anybody. So then I got into my chiropractic stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can do this by myself. Well, 15 years later, I was still healthy as a horse, but you know, I mean, I put on a few pounds and I'd had a few kids.
So you need your blood tested.
Right. So that's what Patrick did. He's like, oh, you got to go to the doctor. You need to make an appointment at a doctor. I'm like, why do I need to make an appointment at the doctor? Well, you need to get your cholesterol checked, and you need to get your blood checked, and you need blood work done, and you need this and you need that. And I'm like, why? I'm okay. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. He's like, no, but you need to know. You need to know where you're at with it. Fine. So because I love him so much, and I didn't want to hear him complain at me anymore.
Yeah, then there's that.
I went to the doctor. So I go in, and I'd been to this doctor once with my son. My son is a daredevil, and he was about 7 or 8. He jumped off a couch, and he snapped a strap muscle and bruised it down the length of his leg.
Oh, my God, ouch.
It was the weirdest looking thing, and I'd never seen it before. So even though I was, you know, a chiropractor at that point, I was like, I'm just going to go see what the doctor... Yeah, I'm just going to see what the doctor says. So I took him over there, and I let him get examined, and the medical doctor's like, yeah, well, I don't know what it is either.
Oh.
I've never seen it before. And I was like, well... My husband told me what it was because he was in high school and he saw people in track have that happen.
Right.
Where they just snapped one tendon, not snapped it apart, but it was like you took a string on a guitar and you plucked it real hard, and it just bruised that particular tendon.
I actually saw it once coming up from the heel. Somebody landed wrong on their heel. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a weird thing to see because it just follows that length of that tendon. And so I was like, well, don't worry about it. You just wasted my time, my money. Thank you for nothing. And I'll be on my way.
Good riddance, yeah.
And he's like, well, I could write him a prescription for a muscle relaxer and a painkiller. And I'm like, he's 8. He's not complaining.
Wow.
And he's 8. And he's like, no, I really can. And I'm like, well, I'm sure you can. He's like, no, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do that. And I was like, right away. So he wrote it down and he handed it to me and shook my hand. And I shook his hand and I crumpled it up and promptly threw it in the pit in the recycle bin. He looked at me and just turned around and walked away. He was so angry.
And this is the same doctor you went to get your blood work and stuff done?
Right. So
I bet he was happy to see you.
Yeah. So then I walked in.
Here she comes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick you. And so then I walked in for that, and he knew right away. He recognized me. And he had attitude right off the bat. I don't know why. I have no idea. So I went and I was sitting on his table, and he comes and he's like, "What can I do for you, Mrs. Deer?" And I was like, well, it's Dr. Deer. just to
Did
muck
you
with,
really?
Well, yeah, just to muck with him a little bit.
Funny.
So then he goes,
I'm going to go to him and tell him Dr. Juliadeer.
He goes, so what can I do for you, Dr. Deer? And I said, well, I want you to test my blood. I need some blood work done. I haven't had blood tests in 15 years. Want to get my cholesterol checked, blah, 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 blah. Told him what I wanted. And he looks at me and he goes, well, why do you want me to do that for? It's not like you're going to take Lipitor. And I looked at him and I go, you're probably right. I said, I highly doubt my cholesterol problem, if I have one, is due to a deficiency of Lipitor. I highly doubt that. I said, but you know what I could do is I could modify my diet and exercise. If I'm aware that there's an issue, I could probably do some of that. I said, did they teach you that in medical school? Because I think they used to teach nutrition, but maybe they stopped doing that now that they have all of these awesome Lipitors and Zocors and all that. Oh, he didn't like me very much. So then after that, he's fine. I'll order the tests. Of course, my numbers all came back awesome.
Good.
Bleh.
Isn't that crazy?
Bleh. That's me thumbing my husband, thumbing my nose at my husband. But no, it was good to know. It gave me peace of mind. It gave my husband peace of mind because he's worried about me. He cares about me. And I can't fault him for caring about me. And I'm willing to do anything if it puts his mind at ease, because I'm just thankful somebody cares enough about me.
I hear you. Yeah.
Don't worry about me. So
that's very true.
Yeah. So that's what I did. And I went and I was fine. And, I've had, like I told you, my biggest problem in life has always been allergies. So either that or like tearing toes off myself, because, I've done that once or twice.
Don't do that anymore. You'll start walking funny.
Yeah. So I had to go to the emergency room once. I think I told Patrick, stick it back on with some bubble gum. I'll be good. But he wasn't having none of it. No, we're going to the doctor. You're getting it sewn back on.
Get my sewing kit out.
Just use a staple gun. It'll work too. No. So I had to go to the emergency room once for that. Once for touching a guinea pig. Once for touching a painted turtle. Oh, I am just allergic to the strangest things.
Really? Turtles?
And I never was. And I don't know how I am now because I just avoid them. But turtles are cute.
Well, they're kind of easy to avoid.
No, I like to hike. I see turtles a lot. In fact, we just went hiking at the Chippewa Nature Center.
And did you see any?
Lots of turtles.
Lots
they were
of them.
everywhere. They were so cute. But
they are really cute.
Right after I became gluten intolerant was when I developed I told you my story about my black widow or my brown recluse bite.
Right.
After my brown recluse bite, and then I became gluten intolerant, and then I was allergic to all these weird things. I literally chucked a little painted turtle. Somebody brought it into the office to show me because they know I like animals. And I just chucked him under the chin. He was so cute. I was like, oh, look at him. And I chucked him under the chin. And then my face blew up and my mouth went numb and my throat closed up. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
You need an EpiPen to carry with you.
I do have to carry an EpiPen.
I'm like that with bees.
Yeah. But I mean, okay. And that's a good point. If I need it, I'm going to use an EpiPen.
Right.
It's not natural, but you know what? By golly, if I need it to survive, I'm going to use an EpiPen.
Right. So medicine does have, that's one of the things we're not trying to
invalidated. It's
no,
not, it's
no.
invaluable. It's
Right.
invaluable, but it's in an emergency situation,
Right.
And you have to trust your MD. Yes, you have to have somebody you can talk to
And ask educated questions and know about things before you go in there.
Yeah. And if you've tried natural things and things aren't changing, seek someone out. I mean, naturopaths are great. Chiropractors are great. Lots of alternative medicine people are great. Ayurvedic healers, energy work, light workers, all of those people are awesome. But if stuff isn't changing and you're getting sicker and sicker, well, I mean, there is a time and a place, and God created them too. And,
Right.
He created people smart enough to figure out pharmaceuticals, but that's got to be my last option.
Yep, that's how I am as well.
My last option.
Right.
But anyway,
that's why we came together as the passionate pundits.
That's right.
Because we think about medicine the same. Food is medicine.
That's right. Food is fuel and food is medicine.
Right.
But what I was going to tell you what was so interesting was there was an Earth Day event shortly after I found out I was allergic to turtles.
Yes.
And it was at a school. And at one end of one hallway, they had the turtles and the reptiles and the amphibians and things like that. And I didn't know that was down there at that end. But as soon as I started walking down the hall towards it,
you could feel it.
I could feel it. I started to get blown up, like my nose, my face,
and you
everything.
can just
and
feel
I could
that.
feel,
Yeah.
And I was not within 100 feet
Isn't
of them.
that something?
But my brain knew that they were at the other end, even though I didn't.
So it was the flight. It was warning you, run.
It was. And I don't even know how it knew, because I don't remember seeing a sign. Maybe there was a sign that said turtles this way, maybe my subconscious saw it, or maybe it overheard somebody talking about the turtles down at the end. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I started walking down that hallway, I was like, Patrick, I don't know what it is, but I don't feel good. And we got closer and closer to that room, and I heard people start talking about turtles. I was like, oh, that's what it is. So I turned around and walked the other way.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it was incredible. Like, that really floored me. That amazed me.
Yeah, that's a very odd thing to be allergic to. Yeah. It's something they secrete, or
I don't know.
It's weird.
I don't know. I have no idea what it is. I don't. People have tried to tell me it was that little painted turtle. It was bedding, but those turtles were not in bedding. I think they were in a big pool, because the kids went down there and saw them. They come back and told me, they were so cool. They had a big one, big tortoise, and it was like, 3 foot across, and they were in like a big inflatable pool. So it wasn't like the bedding or anything like that. And then we went to Key West a couple years ago, my husband and I, and they had turtles at the hotel, which was weird. You walked through like an atrium, and they had like running waters and turtles, and I just kind of like stayed away from them. And like,
we had a little, when I lived in California, and the Ninja Turtles were so popular. Yeah, we had 4 box turtles, and they were named Ninja. On the side of our house, we had like little topiaries that would trim, and like bonsai kind of stuff in there, and little waterfall.
How cute!
Yeah, it was really
You'd take them out to play?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it was really fun. So we talked about the spleen. We talked about sinuses. We talked about cranial adjustment. Mm-hmm. So a lot of really interesting things. Mm-hmm. So I think a really good way to end the show would be for you to announce the winner of the contest. It was the first person that told us what a pundit was.
That's right. And bear with me for a minute, because I would really like to read her answer, because she was really, really good. Let's see. Her name is Rebecca Horetsky, and let me see. She had a good answer. I'm trying to find the answer that she put on.
So I'll talk while you're...
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Facebook Live would not work today. I just had a comment from Patrick. So sorry about that. Maybe next time. So next Tuesday, it's Tuesday, right? Tuesdays at noon are a really good time for you to tune in. Next week, and always the first week and the third week,